I'm Guy Kesterman, the Testaman, and today I'm reviewing the Continental Terra Speeds, which are exactly the kind of gravel tyre you'd expect to get if you designed off-road rubber in a wind tunnel. I might have made it sound in the intro there that I've literally only been riding these today, but I've actually been riding these 45s on and off all summer, well, since the start of spring. And I had the 40s for a long time. And as you might expect for a tyre called the Terra Speed, they're the fastest gravel tyre that Conti do. And they are pretty damn quick, you know. They're certainly up there with some of the fastest tyres around. And while I didn't go to the official launch, I was chatting to Neil from Velo Expert the other day, and he offered me a very interesting perspective that I hadn't thought about, because while in terms of rolling resistance they're very good but not exceptional, where they really win, and apparently it's a deliberate move on the part of Conti, is aerodynamics. So these are very much a tyre that are developed for gravel racers who think that narrower bars, aero frames, aero socks and an aero helmet are the way to go, and who measures the spirit of gravel in drag coefficient, not fun with your mates. So, and that really chimes in, although I didn't know at the time, chimes in with my experience of them, because they feel fantastic on the road. You know, they're not far off a fat road tyre in feel, because you've got an almost constant sort of carpet of little oval lugs in the centre, and then on the intermediate and edges you've got barely any knobs at all. You know, it's a really distinctive design. No, I mean, sometimes you'll get a thinned out tread pattern, but they'll at least normally actually increase the size of the blocks, so you've got something to bite on. But obviously having knobs sticking out the side means that they're going to create more aero drag. All right, and that's specifically what Conti have tried to avoid with this tyre. So the fact that the faster you go, the better they feel, that makes perfect sense. However, what's interesting, at slower speeds and on rougher stuff, they're actually slower than Continental's Dubnital mountain bike tyre. And while they're pretty quick off-road, they're not sensationally quick, and that's something I've always felt about the latest generation ones. They just didn't feel as quick. So when they first came out, these were like my go-to speed tyre. But that was very much in the early days of gravel tyres. And things have moved on a lot since then, with tyres from other brands. And a lot of other stats about these tyres are fairly mid-pack now too. The weight, a 540 gram average for these 245s I've got here, isn't, you know, it's not light, it's okay, but then they're reasonably durable. I've had no problems with punctures, so that's a plus. But in terms of, you know, super light racing tyres, these aren't. And also, I mean, I'm sure it works in the wind tunnel, but the fact they come up considerably undersized. I mean, even on these super wide zips, they're only 46mm, but on a 23 to 25mm tyre, because I've run them on various wheels over the summer, they only come up about 41, 42mm. So they're massively undersized, which makes that effective weight much heavier. So while they come in 35 and 40 and 650 and 35, 40 and 45 in 700, you know, it's obviously you need to take a pinch of salt with those sizing, because they are likely to come up smaller. And also the colour options aren't consistent throughout. So you get all the 650s come in black or cream, but the 35 only comes in black, The 40 in 700 comes in black, cream or transparent, and the cream is lovely, it's proper retro white wall. But 45 only comes in black and transparent, which is effectively skin wall. However, the real buyer beware is not the colouring on these tyres, it's the cornering, particularly off-road. Well, as you might expect, while taking away all the side knobs works really well when it comes to drag coefficient, when it comes to trying to grip on even slightly damp or loose terrain, or just lean or off camber or turn or whatever. It's an absolute nightmare. And while that's fine for racing, if you're on an event like Unbound, where there's a corner about every 50 miles, if you're on a twistier or more technical circuit, or you know, just using a gravel bike as a mountain bike, you are definitely going to lose a lot of speed on technical sections or even basic corners compared to a gravel tyre with proper side knobs. And as we're heading into the soggier end of the year now, I'll definitely be switching to the Terra Adventures. So that's my quick resume of the Continental Terra Speed gravel tyre. Brilliant! If you're the kind of gravelista who thinks aero is the absolute killer performance indicator, but not recommended rubber for those who like to get a little bit more rowdy and creative with their drop bar dirt habit. So, next up, I'm going to chuck those Terra Adventures on. We'll see how they go, whether they suit my style of riding or yours a bit more. But obviously, if you've got feedback on these tyres, then I'd love to hear it in the comments, because it's what you can add to the discussion that always makes these reviews a lot more valuable.